Hi everyone, Bruce Banner here, this time fully alone. See, the Hulk has been busy doing some superhero work stuff with the Avengers, and well, that leaves me alone to record some other videos of stuff that I want to do. Which brings me to today's video, Warhammer 40k. See, I'm a big Warhammer fan. The Custodies are my favorite faction. I love the Ultramarines. I love watching lore videos, lore of the books, lore of the characters. I'm a really super huge fan of everything related to the Ultramarines, and I cannot wait for the show to come out on Amazon with Henry Cavill hopefully on it, since I'm also a big Henry Cavill fan. But anyway, into today's topic. I have a theory I wanted to share with you guys, and that came to me, while I was playing Space Marines 2, and also played the remake recently, so maybe a video on that later. And what I want to talk to you about is a little theory that I have. What if, hear me out here, what if Titus is going to be the next chapter master of the Space Marines? Now, I can already hear you saying, but Bruce, Calgar is the chapter master of the Space Marines. And I will confirm to you that yes, he is the chapter master of the Space Marines, and he is one of the oldest chapter masters in service of the Imperium and has been for thousands of years. He's pretty much competing with Dante at this point. The guy's gonna turn into a dreadnought at any moment in the story. Which, now thinking about it, damn, that would be cool to see, right? Imagine Calgar in a dreadnought delivering fury and vengeance against demons everywhere. That would be so fucking awesome. Anyway, Warhammer. To do a little recap, Titus, back in the first Space Marines game, was the chapter master of the second company of the Ultramarines. And during the occurrence of the game, we discover that Titus has an incredible warp resistance, which lands him an accusation of heresy by the Inquisition, which, is the most Imperium thing ever. And now, with the second Space Marines game, Titus has been gaining more and more importance, becoming essentially a flagship character, a showcase of the Ultramarines to pretty much everyone who is a fan of Warhammer 40k. Everyone knows that the state of Warhammer 40k and its universe is essentially an eternal stalemate in which no side essentially wins, but it's always sort of walking to the sides. Recently we had the return of the Primarchs, mainly Robute Gilliman, and of course his brother Lionel L. Johnson. New special editions are always coming out, so we have to think like, what is GW gonna do next to move the needle, to make sure that the war walks somewhere but doesn't really get anywhere. And honestly, the death of a chapter master, especially one as important and grandiose as Calgar, would be something significant in the Warhammer universe. Having that said, if Calgar dies, who takes his mantle? We know that Gilliman wouldn't take, sort of that place because sure, he is the Primarch of the Ultramarines, but right now he's sort of playing the inheritor of, the space throne of the Emperor. He's essentially is the Emperor, for lack of another term. So the seat would be vacant for anyone who would be willing to take it. Now, I know what some of you are going to think, that probably that person could be Caetus Icarius. Now, I don't think Caetus Icarius would be a good chapter master. I don't think he has the popularity for it within the fans, and I don't think he would, be a good theoretical guy. Caetus Icarius is essentially a juggernaut. He goes, he kills people, he kills the Xenos, and that's sort of it, and he has been doing a great job of that by staying close to Gilliman, which is, Excel premium shit walking on two legs. Now, I understand that, not everyone in the fandom likes Caetus Icarius, but I do, but he doesn't have a strong theoretical to be chapter master of the Ultramarines. So having that said, who better than goddamn fucking Titus? He has the aura, he has the pose, he has good theoretical and good pragmatical. He can definitely kick some ass. And, hear me out, I think he is a perpetual like the salamanders, like the emperor, like, you know, so many other characters. Now, you might ask me, why do I think that? And this is the craziest part of my theory here. If you haven't liked the video, like the goddamn video right now and subscribe to the channel. Because I'm always following up and keeping up with Warhammer lore, so, you know, if I have any other crazy theories or things, I can always bring it up here, but I need this video to be successful, and I need your feedback in order to know if I do continue with that or not. In the first game, Titus, after, you know, grabbing the power source, gets exploded into hell, and, well, the Inquisitor says that Captain Titus has died. Of course, you know, we are the player, so we know that he hasn't died. And then again, spoilers here, at the end of the second game, Titus dies again and is resurrected by the Emperor. Or at least that's what we think that happened. Because in reality, what if Titus is not getting resurrected? What if he is a perpetual? That would explain his anomalous resistance to warp energy, his lack of psyker powers, which, you know, would be something that would excuse him having psyker, you know, warp resistance. You know, with him being a perpetual, he can not be a psyker but still have some warp resistance, because perpetuals have essentially eternal souls and they cannot die, which, you know, is something that we had a whole fucking book about Vulcan doing, you know, essentially not dying. That's what perpetuals do. They don't die, they get resurrected all the time. So having that said, I see no other explanation for Titus living so long and managing to survive so many life-ending events if not by being a fucking perpetual. You know, it's sort of obvious when you think about it, and that would make him not just an excellent replacement for Calgar, which, you know, likes Titus, as we have seen by their interactions in the second game, but also would need someone on par with himself. Titus has over 28, you know, volumes of records of deeds done. God damn it, I meant to say Calgar. Calgar has 28 records of impressive feats recorded in the Ultramarines book, though Titus is not that far behind if we think about it, because, you know, he joined the Death Watch, spent 100 years on the Death Watch, he died in service of the Death Watch, he was a captain, and then he returned and survived the Primaris, you know, surgery and crossed the Rubicon like many other officials before him. So all those things are pretty impressive by themselves already. I don't know what I was smoking when I recorded this video, but, you know, must have been good. Anyway, moving on. So I think that Titus would be the best replacement for Calgar, and it would help GW move the plot line into somewhere and recognizing, you know, Titus as a main character and as a main power force inside the Warhammer universe. So anyway, at least that's my theory. A game theory. No, I don't have the props for that one yet. But anyway, what do you guys think? Is Titus capable of replacing Calgar as chapter master of the Space Marines? Would you like to see that? Who else do you think could be a future chapter master for the Space Marines in case Marneos Calgar dies, or, you know, something else happens to him? Let me know in the comments, subscribe to the channel, like the goddamn video. I'm really happy whenever you guys comment. So is Hulk. He couldn't be here today because he's busy with superhero stuff, but I will bring him soon for more reviews and more stuff. And I'm still working on that Kingdom Hearts review, but it's gonna be a while. I don't want to half-ass anything, okay? Anyway, thanks guys, and until next time. Hulk out!